Hello, and good morning, and welcome to the All Ages Piano Lounge. I'm your gracious host, Fingers Malone, sometimes known as Cassius Ivory. Just kidding, just kidding. So yeah, here I am. I actually did make that video last night. I don't even know how long it was, but it was absurdly long, and I ranted on and on for at the end of it about the lawyer that I was trying to. I think I was trying to tell you a story that just about the HRC settlement that I'm trying to go through or process I'm going through with against my former employer Regan's, and because it's been approved by the HRC, I've had to now reach out to try to figure out what a settlement would be, and I reached out to a lawyer, and I've had a lot of problems with lawyers going back and forth. That's a whole other story in itself, which I rambled on about endlessly last night, and then. Eventually, it came down to one of the recommendations was Pink and Larkin, which, of course, Pink, well-known legal name here in the Maritimes. So I contacted them. They said, we have to do a conflict of interest check. So they said, in case they were representing the Regans or one of the other respondents that I had listed as an associate or what have you. But they weren't, I guess. So they said, oh, yeah, so we can take your case. It says it's $460 for the consultation. And then the hourly wage after that is $350 per hour, $350 an hour. Which I knew was going to be expensive, but I was thinking I don't think I'm going to be getting, $100,000 where it's okay to get, people involved where they can suddenly, and I don't even know. I mean, it would take them, I'm sure, a solid few hours at least to go through, the 30 or so pages of documentation that I have, or technically maybe more if it went into arbitration or sort of litigation in some capacity, because there's literally probably 500 pages, so there would be a lot of digging, fine-tooth comb sort of stuff. So it would be fairly expensive process for them to dig through. So I've just highlighted all the really basic in those 30 pages that I have are just like the highlights of the evidence that I have for the wrongful treatment and dismissal and so on. But anyway, so I was like, because I was reading online there seems to be limitations as to what you can sort of get for lost wages or income and emotional harm, that kind of stuff, So it's sort of a convoluted. There's no win. It's a no-win situation. So it's like trying to squeeze, blood out of a stone or whatever. It's not like I'm going to be getting a big, oh wow, here's whatever, tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of, no, it's going to be chump change. It's just almost in some capacity and not worth all the aggravation and stress that I've gone through. Because it's taken more than a year and a half for the the HRC to even get back to me. It was a year pretty much to the day from my termination to when I submitted the HRC complaint. And that went through several phases because they had a lot of technical issues during COVID. So couldn't get online, and it was hard and impossible to get through to their caseworkers. And so anyway, it was a long process, and it finally got submitted in September, almost a year, not quite a year, from my termination date. So, but then from that day forward until there was a investigator / caseworker assigned to it to sort of facilitate the next stage. That was a full year and a half. So it's been like 2.5 years. So a long time. So yeah. Anyway, but now they want me to take care of it like that. No, we got to be fair to the respondent. I just spent like 2.5 years fucking around waiting for you guys. Yep. Oh, that doesn't matter. I know we got problems, but okay, fair enough. As long as you guys are working on your problems. Anyway, here I am sitting at the Fantom. You probably can't really even see it, but I am sitting at it. It's true. I wouldn't lie to you. So I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if. Well, I just said I wouldn't lie to you, and I'm not. I don't know if I can bring the Fantom or not. I'll have to see, because I typically use this as my main, when I'm at home, this is kind of the one that I sit at and play because it's hooked up to all my shit. And if I had two Fantoms, yeah, fuck, sure, I definitely drop one down and leave it at your place. But I got my A90s over here, so the A90s are my, I got two of them. They're tried and tested, and I actually like playing those keyboards more. They're noisy and clunky compared to this one, but they're just a lighter action. The Fantom action is really heavy, and some people like that because it maybe mimics more of a real grand piano. But I don't know. I found I could always dig into those pianos better. But they upgraded the action in between these two models at some point, and this is sort of the current, even by today's standard, I think. Although they've replaced it, instead of having a full plastic key, I think it's a partially wooden key. But it still has the same basic hammers and shit in it, because it's a pretty solid, seamless sort of action. But it is heavy, and the velocity curves on it. There's very limited. You've only got 3 choices. So this one here, you had I think 7, and you could fine tune those 7 to your liking. So there's a lot more flexibility for the velocity capability of sort of allowing you to find the right dynamic for your own playing. But anyway, I keep it on the light setting, just so you know, because I find that's, I don't have to beat the shit out of it to get what I want out of it. But it's one of those things. But it's got a lot of great sounds in it. It's probably, I don't even know, it's probably got 1,200, 1,500 sounds stock in it, I'd guess. And then I've got it expanded. There's an expansion bay over here with 4 SRX cards that in the day were the sort of the bee's knees of expanding your Fantom and other comparable Roland products that took the SRX expansion card. So anyway, I've got 4 of them in there, so I probably easily have another 1,500 plus sounds in the RS expansion bay. And some of them are crap garbage, and some of them are like, sitar, like who's going to use a sitar or whatever. Right? So there's some things that are completely useless, but they're there nonetheless. But I have quite a good range of stock keyboard sounds that are functionally good. The exception is organs. The organs in this thing suck, monkey balls, and they do in most keyboards. It doesn't matter, even today's standard. If you bought the brand new Roland Fantom today or the Yamaha Montage, I mean, the organs still kind of suck. There's no sugarcoating it. You really have to go to a clone wheel organ or a specific thing. I've got a sound module here which I would bring to jam. I could plug it right into your motif, or I could bring a really light keyboard to play just the organ sounds through. So, like the organ, my organ sounds pretty good. And it's got, if I want to. It's got a pretty decent Leslie sound, pretty decent distortion, and nice percussion. So you don't get that on these Fantoms, but that's a little sound module. I can easily cart that to the thing. It weighs less than a pound. Just MIDI cable, boop boop, and you're good to go. So yeah, so. Old Roland Fantom. So, like I said, thousands of sounds. It's got a really cool piano mode, which that's just my stock piano that I use. But you can go into acoustic pianos, select the one I just had, and you can do things like open and close the lid of the grand piano. So that's pretty open. I keep it fairly open to give it a nice open sound. But if I want to close it down, I can, to give it a little bit of different dynamic. You can affect the resonance and key touch and all that stuff in here to sort of fine tune it a little bit. One of the things I like about the piano mode is that it actually does your electric pianos too. So I'll just use a Mach 1 here, or Mark 1 electric piano, an old Rhodes style. Straight up simple sound, and that's one that I've already edited, to be honest with you. But you can click the old tremolo button. Touch of a button, you have some nice tremolo. Then you can actually go in and change the waveform or the rate depth of the tremolo if you want. all right on the screen here is pretty simple. Same thing. If I want to add chorus to it, I can add chorus and do the same thing. I can balance it out or add depth or what have you. If we wanted to do Babe by Styx, I can click the phaser button, which I just did, and now I've got to. Babe, I'm leaving. But you know what I mean? So you can, same thing, you can go through that. There's an EQ function as well. So you can see it defaults to what the EQ settings are there, but I can take the mid gain off if I want. Add some high gain or take it away. So you can, adjust things on the fly pretty quick. There's a speaker simulator as well, like a cabinet or an amp simulator. So lots of different things you can do with it. And it's pretty quick to go into. So if you're looking at like piano, acoustic piano, electric pianos, it's a neat little feature. It's not too ridiculous in depth like you might get today with some of the keyboards today, but at its time, it was sort of a neat way to, quickly build custom sounds in the electric or acoustic sort of piano vein. But I've got all manner of thing in here. So, and plus, right now I don't have my Integra plugged into this, which is somewhat normal, because I don't. Sorry, go down here. I don't have I don't have it plugged in because this is just all Fantom stuff. Normally I would have my Integra plugged into this because this internally you can use 16 sounds. It's like 16 MIDI channels, so it's got its own internal MIDI, mixer, and you can run 16 sounds at once from the Fantom. You can layer them all across the keyboard any way you want. You can split them. You can take the different zones and turn on or off the controller features or effects and stuff. So you can get really complex with what you can do. You can trigger samples in different parts of the keyboards, once they're sampled into the Fantom. Trigger pad stuff. Anyway, it's fairly complex what you can do with it. And you can't do that with the A90s, obviously. But plus, if you bring your Integra in or a sound module in, technically you can bring at least 16, if it's a multi-timbral sound module like a modern day one, which they all are, you could bring in 16 external sounds or, MIDI channel sounds. So you could technically have 32 layers. And in theory, you could double stack, like the Integra can have them double stack, so you can have 2 sounds on every channel. So you could go like kind of nutty with, shit all over the place here. But that's really, that would, if you're playing really live and doing some really weird stuff or just really complex sound sets, instead of having to go through, digging through menus and multiple patches, you just have everything zoned the way you need it, right? Because you just need to play in certain areas of the keyboard to trigger whatever you're doing. And so you can get pretty complex with that kind of stuff. But it's got, the brass stuff in it. Which I know you got a horn player anyway, but it's pretty easy to find patches. You literally just go down, you go to the patch list. Scroll down to find the subsection of what you're looking for. So that was acoustic brass and synth brass, which was the jump sound, and then the sax sound, hard lead, soft leads, techno synths, flute. Wind instruments, orchestra, basses and guitars and whatever. So it's all pretty easily organized. Now, I've got a lot of my own patches saved, so I don't have to necessarily go into the list mode. But if I was looking for something, on the fly, it's not hard to find them, even though there's a shit ton of stuff to dig through sometimes. But it's pretty well organized in the sense that if you're looking for a brass patch, just go down to acoustic brass, and there's a list, and just scroll down to find the patch you want. So it's not too bad that way. Actually, I don't know what I'm on here right now. Card 43. But anyway, then you can go into layer mode or the what they call performance mode, I guess, or and I've got things like this is just a. There's no keys in the song anyway, but this is a. You guys are talking about doing that song there in the key of A. You may be right by Billy Joel, but this give you an example. That's just a straight up piano sound that I've personally. Just one that I pick because I kind of like that sound. But I've actually got this. It's just a straight up, a couple layers in there, but I've got the glass breaking sample on the bottom here on the F key, just to trigger as sort of an intro to the song, just like on the record. So things like that. So I put that sample in there. But I've got. Reaching out, something to hold. Little Hall notes there. Summer '69, Heaven. That's the old one. Twilight. By Golden Earring, I think it is. So I've got, I think it's the way down here in the bottom. I've got the intro sample to the song, that organ and synth sweep. It's all sort of layered in there. You know what I mean? So, got cool things like that you can do. My Beatles piano sound. Favorite piano sounds. That's slightly customized version that I have or made. Elton John piano sound. It's like his 80s sort of piano. I've got a couple different layers in there. I've got an acoustic grand plus a CP80 Yamaha piano mixed in there with a little bit of synth sawtooth just underneath to give it a little bit of bite on the bottom. Jump. Then I've got another sample here. This is Final Countdown. So really simple sound, but I've got all these layers in the middle, synth and organ and other things. I've got a neat intro down here, which is just a couple of pads that I put onto a single note. And then I've got the intro album sample way up top here.
Now have primary control of critical vehicle function. Discovery, your goal for APU shutdown on time.
So you can get that big intro counting down to the whole song starting out with the organ and the synths, right? So neat things like that you can do. And similarly, I've got, like if you look at, just do a couple more here as I'll fire off here, but Too Much Time by Styx. So I'll show you some of the controller features. So you got like a left hand synthesizer bass part, So that's on the left hand. So in the middle here, I've got synth sweep, which comes in when the bass and the drums are all kicking in there. Then on the top here, I've got a little call and answer electric piano part is up there. And then I've got, you can also use that, the sampling, which is on the top part of the keyboard. So the intro to the song sampled comes in. Then I've got the actual outro alarm bell sampled in there as well, as when the song sort of finishes off. So you kick into it, but then you look at the zones here. So if I press this little sweep synth here, and I hold my sustain pedal, it's sustained, right? if I'm playing this left-hand bass down here, if I hold my sustain pedal, I get nothing. So I've got the sustain pedal turned off down here because I can hold this note down. You know what I mean? So you can do those things. You can turn those different controllers and features off for the individual zones of the keyboard, which sort of make it, user-friendly when you're playing, multiple things in one register or whatever. By Bryan Adams, but then I've got, that's all just a couple pianos layered in there, but then I've got the strings sort of layered in with the electric piano up top for when we get into the chorus part of it or whatever. So anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the bare bones basics of the Fantom. It's a cool little keyboard. If I bring this out or we bring it out, I might still bring my Integra, although I don't really need it because the stock sounds are still pretty good, especially for today's standards. I would say arguably this could be still a very prominent stage workstation that you would play professional gigs with. You would have no issue with the sounds. But my Integra sort of ups the ante with some of the high-end supernatural stuff that Roland has. But I can also bring the Integra and put it into the A90s and do quite a bit just out of the box with those as well. Not as much, but certainly like sampling and stuff I can't do from there. But I could do all the pretty much all the other stuff, minus the complexity. I can only do, I think, so I could do 4 internal and 4 external zones on the, so I'm limited by what I can do there. But anyway, neither here nor there. So we'll have to decide maybe in a week or so when they want to get back together and go from there. But I've also got this I can bring too if I needed to, which is a separate sampler, which I could trigger samples from this if I needed to, or trigger them by MIDI too. So, but I've got this up here, which won't play probably because I don't have this turned on. So this is just running a backing track, which I think is, this is Billy Joel anyway, right? But I can trigger stuff from there just to give you an idea what I can do up there. But so yeah, so that's the Fantom. That's the video. I don't want to take up too much of your time like the last video. Hopefully all is going well. I'm still pretty stiff and sore. I got to actually get on the phone here and call the lawyer here in a few minutes. It's just after 10 now, I think. So I'm going to get on the phone and give that crazy numbnut a call. This lawyer was the original one that was recommended by Legal Nova Scotia, but she was in Ontario at the time. I was like, well, how the hell am I supposed to contact someone in Ontario? Like, no idea why Legal Nova Scotia is recommending a lawyer in Ontario, but anyway, she had plans to come to Nova Scotia. I think she might be here now, so I'm kind of hoping that. But she's got a really thick African accent, and she sounds super nice, but she sounds really hard to understand. So unless I could actually meet with her and sort of really get the articulation so I can understand what's going on, it would be a little tougher, I think. So that's kind of why I went looking other places, and I ended up eventually at Pink Larkin, which was a total fucking $350 an hour, $460 initial consultation. And I was like, okay, fair enough, you crackpots. Anyway, I will leave it at that, and I hope you're having a great day. It is Wednesday. I got to play Dungeons & Dragons tonight, so I got to get my head into that as well, and I'll sign off for now, and enjoy the rest of the day, and take care. I got to get up and go over and turn the camera off. Actually, it's kind of over there, and I'm over here, so little awkward here. I'm not going to edit it neither. It's just going to be what it's not going to be seamless. Not going to fade out at the end. There's not going to be any kind of weird, dissolving transition. Just gonna have to put up with it. As simple as this. I'll upload it eventually. Okay. I'll probably maybe I might even try uploading it to Rumble, because I have a Rumble account now. Don't ask me why I have a Rumble account, but I have one. So maybe I'll upload it to Rumble. So just have to deal with it. All right. Talk to you later.